Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Full Potential Show. I'm James Rick, and this is your number one non-boring source for personal development. And today on the line, we have Lance Secretan. He's the author of multiple leadership books, 15. This is his 15th. It's called The Spark, The Flame, and The Torch. Today, we're going to talk about how we transform the world by starting with ourselves first and then letting that fire spread to the world. He's appeared in all kinds of media. You can learn more about Lance at his website, secretan.com. He's an author and advisor to leaders, and we're glad to have him on the Full Potential Show today. Lance, are you there, my friend?
I am. I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you on. So you're just like, you're the leader's man. You've got all these books on leadership. You've obviously put a lot of thought into what it takes to make a great leader. And I'd like to hear just, what you think is the core. And I know you've got, probably you could do a lengthy definition and a short one. Give me, what is the essence of a great leader?
Well, I think the essence is probably coming from the soul, not the personality. What we've been doing for so long is we've been analyzing personality. We have all kinds of tests for it and so on. And we try and motivate people. And great leaders don't do that. I think great leaders inspire people, and they reach to a place that's far beyond the personality.
That is probably the best description of a great leader that I've ever heard in my life.
I just made it up.
And Lance, honestly, it resonates because I think, people may not be able to put it into words, but when you're around a great leader, you feel it. You can't
Absolutely.
put it into words, and
Yes.
you can't fake it, and you can't learn it. It's the only thing you can learn is to go within and find the source of that power that makes a great leader.
Absolutely. You're
So
right.
I think we're starting off on a very good foot right now, Lance. From that place of power that a leader has at that core, there are things that they do now and what they take with them, when they almost have to be introspective, don't they? I mean, to be able to go to that place, you can't just function in the world. You have to take the necessary time to really get structured and organized within yourself.
Yeah.
So would that be the first step to getting clear on what is important to you and where is that power within yourself so you are operating at a soul level?
Yes. Just to give you a little background, I've worked with about 30 of Fortune's most admired companies, leaders of countries, states, cities, and so on. So I've watched a lot, and I've learned a lot from all of these people. So the spark, the flame, and the torch is really a history of 35 years of work. And the spark, you see, is we need to become inspired ourselves first. That's the spark. Then we're able to inspire other people. That's the flame. And then we can change the world. And, that's the torch.
What is it that you think really makes a leader inspired? What causes that spark?
Let's start with that spark part. There are 3 steps. The first step is to understand why we're here. In other words, why am I on this planet? How am I going to be when I'm here? In other words, how will people judge me? What will my behavior and values be like? And lastly, what's my calling? What are my gifts? What are my talents and skills? And how will I use them to serve the world? That we call the why be do. Why I'm here, how I'm going to be, and what I'm going to do. Now, when you stand in the presence of someone who knows that at a deep inner level, that is an inspiring person because they radiate inspiration. They don't even need to say anything. The Dalai Lama walks into a room, he can keep his mouth shut, and everybody's inspired. It's about who you are. So that's where it starts. The second thing is to have a dream, not a mission, nor vision, nor values, or any of that stuff. That's really old-fashioned junk. About a dream. Great organizations have a dream. I'm an athlete. I have lots of friends who are Olympians. They don't get to the Olympics without a dream. Nobody does anything phenomenal without a dream. And why live life any other way? And then lastly, it's about building relationships. And we have an instrument which you can find on our website called 5 Dynamics. If we understand and learn the technology of how people learn, we'll be able to key into them that much better and therefore have inspiring dialogues. And that's what inspires us.
Where can we find this, and what was it called again for building the relationships?
It's called 5 Dynamics.
5 Dynamics.
Yes, you can find it on secretan.com/5D.
Secretan.com/5D. Lance, you are just you. I mean, I said we had 20 minutes, man. In 5 minutes, we've knocked it out. You've got.
But we've only started. We've only started because we can't inspire other people unless we're inspired. So that's what the Spark's about. It's about becoming inspired ourselves. Once we've done that, now we're ready to inspire others. And I'll tell you how we do that. We do that by living what we call the CASTLE principles. And CASTLE is an acronym for courage, authenticity, service, truthfulness, love, and effectiveness. And we came up with that some years ago because we asked people, what don't you like about leaders? And they told us, I don't like cowards. We don't like people who are phony. We don't like people who are selfish. We don't like people who lie. We don't like people who rule with fear. We don't like incompetent leaders. We said, okay, fine. Why don't we just do the opposite of all that? Courage, authenticity, service, truthfulness, love, and effectiveness. Do those 6 things, the CASTLE principles, and you will inspire other people.
It's a great, I mean, you've got your inspiration, and then you've got the CASTLE principles to then get that inspiration out there into the world. Now, this is a way of being. And
yes.
Now, I in the third thing that you said, you've got, why am I here? That's your inspiration. The being is the CASTLE principle, I take it, right? That's the way of being.
Yes, that's how to live. That's right.
Now we've got the calling. We've got the doing part. And this is the part where, in my perspective, that there's not a lot of clarity. There's people that are like, usually they're inspired by what they're fed up by. A lot of people, and in today's world, it's like, I am fed up with this, but it's not going to change. It's been this way for hundreds of years. And so that's where they stop short. They don't know what to do. And they're being true to their values, as true as they can be, but there are certain institutions, there are certain things that have been in motion for hundreds of years, thousands of years, that now they look up at the world and they go, man, I don't know how I'm going to affect the kind of change I want to see in this world. And that's where it ends, the inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm very curious on how we can start taking this fire and spread it and make it real.
Well, I think very few people, I don't know what the data is, but I'm guessing it's maybe like 70% of people do work that is a paycheck. It's nothing more than that. It's a paycheck. Probably a good one for lots of people, but that's it. If you were to ask them, now look, supposing you were to do what you really love doing, would it be different from what you're doing right now? And I think 70% of the world would say yes. So the key would be to ask people, what is it you're passionate about, and how can you turn that into an income-generating life?
That's one way to frame the question, and it's interesting because I think there are still even a lot of people that are asking that question, but I wanted to ask you an even deeper question around that, and that is it possible that the things that we're passionate about and that inspire us, there may not be a relationship to money in those things?
No, it's impossible.
Really?
Absolutely impossible. 100%. Let me give you an example.
No, I like hearing that. I mean,
Right?
I
Absolutely.
like the conviction in that.
I could tell you tons of stories of people who turn absurd ideas and things into careers. So let me tell you my own story. I'm a passionate skier. I'm talking to you from my home up in 10,000 feet up in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. I'm here because I love to ski. Now, I think to myself, how do I make money skiing? Now, I'm already a coach to leaders all over the world, so I'm trying to knit all this together. So I bring leaders from all over the world here to my home, and we ski on the mountain together, and I teach them 2 things. One, how to ski double black diamonds in one day. Do you know what double black diamonds are?
I do. They would be insane to do that if they've never done it before.
In one day. And we teach the CASTLE principles on the mountain. When they go home, they don't need an airplane. They're so inspired.
If they go home.
No, they always go home. And they always go home whole and excited and fit and well. And the thing I'm explaining here is that I'm trying to connect the dots between what I'm passionate about, which is leadership development and helping leaders be inspired, and skiing. So I knit the 2 together, and now I have an opportunity.
Yeah. And you've got leaders who also enjoy skiing that now can be productive while doing something they love.
Absolutely.
And where you may not have been able to separate yourself from other ski instructors out there trying to do what you love, you did it in a way that uniquely differentiated you from both ski instructors and from leadership advisors.
And when I go home to Ontario, where I live in the summer, I do the same thing, only on a mountain bike and in a kayak.
And so what I'm hearing you say is that as long as you're creative, you can find a way to knit two things together, one that can make money and one that you enjoy doing no matter what it is.
Well, of course. Look at all the athletes in the world, all the tennis players and the footballers and so on. Do you think that they're doing that for the money? Do you think it's a 9-to-5 job? I mean, this is their passion. And they're making not just a little bit of money. They're making millions of dollars.
And this is the thing. You're saying that it would be impossible not to find a way to make money doing something you enjoy.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very easy to say, oh, I'll go and work in a factory and I'll smash pieces of steel all day long. But that's not a passion. Most people don't love doing that. Some do. And if you do, then that's your calling.
You're going to enjoy it and you're making money doing it. What comes to mind for me is when there's people that are, for example, let's take teachers, for example. I think they are one of the most underappreciated, underpaid, and disproportionately compensated people in the country and in the world. They are literally the foundation of the next generation, and they are off to the side, barely, getting budget cuts and everything now. What can they do? They're passionate about teaching, but within the box of teaching, they only have so many resources being allocated to them. What do you see as being knitted together, or how do you see that being addressed? Because a lot of those teachers basically are maybe feeling like they're never going to get out of debt. They can't afford basic overhead. I look at that and I say to myself, just to be fair and giving you clarity on where I'm coming from, that maybe we live in a time where money is still relevant, but in some distant future, money will not be as relevant and people can still do what they're passionate about. I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Well, that's an interesting thought. I have to process that. Let me just touch on the first point first, which is really about teachers. And, can they be inspired? Can they be passionate? And can they be paid well? There are lots of teachers who are paid extraordinarily well. But the reason they're paid well is because they're very creative. They have enormous mastery. If you know of the name of a man called John Hunter, who invented the peace game, the world peace game, you should have him on your show. He's phenomenal. But he has changed the world. And he's a teacher in South Carolina at a school, but he is so remarkable that he's been on the TED, he's done a TED talk and so on. I mean, he's just a world-class teacher. Anybody can do that if they really want to, if they're passionate enough about it.
So what I'm hearing you say is that even though they can be a teacher in some hours, doing their normal job, what it's paying, they still have the possibility to be creative in their off hours. And that can lead to greater prosperity simply because they were creative and they found a way to add more value to the world.
And if they're good. I mean, the point is, if you're a good teacher, let's say you get to be voted the teacher of the year. The next thing you know, you're making speeches all over the place, you're writing books, you're doing all kinds of things, which are all part of your teaching. But this has just mushroomed your career.
You've got to raise your standard. No matter what you're doing, in order to get paid extraordinarily well, you have to be extraordinary.
Exactly. And you get extraordinary by making sure that there's a perfect intersection between your passion and your talent. Where those two cross, that's your calling. Man,
it gives me, you are coming from the soul. It gives me, I always feel when there's a certain truth that there's like a tingle, like a reassurance that it's real. And I really do appreciate the energy that you've given today, and I really do feel like you're coming from the core. And it gives clarity, I think, to some of the ideas that I have challenged within myself. Now, I'd like to get you to comment on the relevance of money, and maybe we live in a time period where we would hope that everybody can do something that they're passionate about and make money. And I hold out the possibility, especially with how much thought it appears you've given this and you have this conviction about it, because I was in the gray area about it, because personally I still have a business that I do while I do these shows and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
So that, you know, my reference for that is you've got to still do what brings in money, and then and I'm passionate about the business too, but I'm also passionate about spreading this message, spreading this positive energy. So what are your thoughts on the relevance of money and the possibility that what we're feeling as passion will still be passion in a future where money is no longer something we have to try to attach it to?
Yeah, I don't see it that way in the long term. For me, money is energy. It's just an exchange of energy between one entity and another. And it's also a signal about your value and worth. Now, we may not always get it right. I mean, it's hard to imagine that, you know, certain athletes are worth $100 million a year and so on. I mean, there are some sort of weird things going on in our society. And also at the same time, as you rightly point out, you know, a teacher's getting 40 grand. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. But we will sort that out, I think. We will get there, because I think the point is we will value education. But on the other hand, you know, we are always able to make money. I mean, you can't imagine any occupation in the world where somebody who's really good doesn't make money. That's the way it works. The issue really is not so much about money for me. It's about how much you're prepared to invest in yourself and how prepared you are to keep learning and growing and getting better and better and better. The better you are, the more money you make. It's a simple equation. And I think money's here to stay. I don't think that's going to change.
No, it's an interesting thing. I don't know for sure, but I appreciate your thought and your conviction on it. And it certainly is here now, which makes it very relevant to being able to carry out our mission in the world and to carry the torch that will allow us to transform this planet. And Lance, I really appreciate what you've done here on the show today and what you've shared. I want to encourage everybody to check out your website. It's secretan.com. And the book, The Spark, the Flame, and the Torch, where can they find it, Lance?
Amazon, you know, all the online bookstores, and on our website.
Okay. And it's on the website, secretan.com as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody check it out. This is words of wisdom, very wise. Very glad having you on the show today, Lance. And encourage everybody to check out the book and be sure and like and subscribe to the Full Potential Show so that you can continue to gain mastery in your life. That's why we're here. So be sure and like and subscribe and get more great insights from people like Lance. Really, again, truly appreciate having you on the show, Lance. Thank you. And by the way, Lance, I wanted to say, I think you could double as that voice that introduces the movies. But, you know, when he says, and now, you have that voice. You know what I'm talking about. Have you ever done any movie voiceover work?
No, I haven't, but a lot of people tell me stuff like that. I'm too busy, man.
You got it. All right, man. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Full Potential Show, your #1 non-boring source for personal development. I'm James Rick, and if you want to get more positive programming for your brain absolutely free on a weekly basis, just visit fullpotential.com.
If you like the Full Potential Show, you're going to love the Full Potential Club. What would you like most as a Full Potential Club member? Be 2 to 3 times more productive? Do what you're passionate about? Have more energy? Reduce your work hours? Travel the world? Enjoy an amazing lifestyle on a frugal budget? What if you could do them all? James Rick has been there and done it in ways that few people have. For anyone serious about taking their life or business to the next level, you know you've got to do more than just watch. You've got to do. Join James Rick and other like-minded people for an incredible $10 a month at fullpotential.com/club. Be educated. Be empowered. Be the best version of you. fullpotential.com/club. Try it free for 30 days.